Thanks for joining me today, and congratulations for being Barrie's new poet laureate, and I believe the
Thank
first Black woman laureate.
yes. Thank you so much. It definitely is an honor that I'm grateful for, and it means the world to me. So thank you.
Yeah, so before getting into your 2020 poetry book, Bearing Fruits, and your upcoming projects, I would just wanted to get a sense about your past, where you come from, and where your love for the poetry started.
Yeah, so I grew up downtown Toronto. I've been writing for as long as I can remember, whether that was songs, creative writing like short stories, raps, poems. Writing has always been very therapeutic for me and something that kind of comes naturally to me. Once I found poetry, it was like, oh my God, I like knew that this is what I was meant to do. I am a more sensitive, emotional being, so being able to write down my emotions, I find healing through my words, and it's also really powerful. I love the fact that I'm able to tap into emotions, and while I'm performing my poetry, I like people can actually feel whatever I'm going through, and I love being able to like give people that new experience.
That's
Mhm.
cool. So did you study poetry? Did you go to college
No,
or?
I mean, studying just through reading other people's works and learning about it online. I'm basically a self-taught poet, but poetry to me is something that anybody can do. It's just tapping into your own creative abilities and having that desire to share it with others. Mhm.
That's cool. And you said you are emotional person. So how I believe I'm also a little bit emotional. So it's very taxing. It's very tiring if you want to write something, especially something that is close to your heart. So how is the process? How do you go through that emotional turmoil?
Yeah, I feel like for me, it's crazy. Like I can just be going through something and I just get an urge to write. Like inspiration comes through anything, like life struggles, life goals, life dreams, anything that I'm going through, I like kind of write through. And it allows me to like relive that moment, as well as like documenting it so that I can always go back to it later. Um, yes, emotions can sometimes take over, but for me it like allows me to like put it on paper and kind of release it from my body, and then I can always like go back to it whenever I want to.
So do
Mhm.
you remember when did you write your first poem? How old were you?
Oh my goodness, definitely like before high school. I want to say like elementary school. I'm not sure exactly what grade, but ever since English class was a course that I had to take, it was something that I always thrived in and I always loved. Writing has always come like easy to me, and for as long as I can remember, I've been writing poetry. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm gonna say 10, 11, 12, around that age. Whenever I could basically pick up a pencil, I've kind of been writing. So
Do you? I'm not going to make you read that poem here, unless you want to. But like, do you remember your first poem and what it was about?
I've been writing so many that I can't even remember the first one. But I know that Rupi Kaur, when I first read her book, that really touched me because her like writing style I find is very similar to mine. And when I seen her words, I was like, oh my God, like I can actually do this. So seeing her kind of gave me the like confidence to really put myself out there and really follow my dreams of writing.
So which poet did you mention? Because I'm sorry,
Rupi
but I'm not.
Kaur,
Pardon?
Rupi Kaur, she's actually, I want to say from Brampton. She's actually like on a tour right now, but she's a really popular Canadian poet. Um, I think that she's from, yeah,
Yeah, I
Brampton,
have
but
heard of her. Yeah,
Milk
yeah.
and Honey.
Her family is originally from Punjab. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
she's amazing. I love her. Um, so Milk and Honey, when I first read that, I was like, oh my God, this is so what I need to do is put out a book. So she definitely helped inspire Bearing Fruit and just giving me the like confidence to self-publish my own book.
And I definitely I want to talk about bearing fruits, but how would you say your journey, starting from you when you were 11-year-old, and then I believe you published Bearing Fruits maybe when you are 27, 28. So how do you think you evolve over that period, as a poet?
I feel like every day I'm like still growing. Poetry grows with me, and it allows me to express myself in different ways. It allows me to write about different things that I'm personally going through. Um, it definitely has changed as I've aged. So has my like perspective and like what's really like matters to me has changed. So even like when I like look at my different poems, like maybe back in the day it was more about maybe like heartbreak or stuff like that. And now that I'm older, it's more about love and family and growth mindsets and, really going after my like dreams and being who I want to be and proud of who I am becoming. So as I've grown, so has my writing style, but I always like to keep it personal, raw. I like to be vulnerable. I like to speak my own truth, whatever that may be. And it's definitely let me listen to myself more and have more confidence in myself.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mhm.
And when I was reading, when I was reading, Bearing Fruits, we have a 5-year-old
Oh,
son,
cute.
and then it reminded me of, at that time we were living in Boston, and I remember, where we were, my wife and I, when she told me, and I as I was reading through the book, I was, going through my own emotions, but at the same time, I realized that how much less, I I like to think that I was there for her all the time, but it also made me think that how much different it was for her compared to it was for me. I was listening to this one comedian, and he said, people say that husband and wife say, we are pregnant, instead of my wife is pregnant, and he says, but it's so much different for women. It's very easy for men to say, oh, we are pregnant, but you are nowhere going through the experience that the woman is going through. So were you writing this poem as you were going through your pregnancy?
Yeah, so I actually wrote Bearing Fruit while I was pregnant. Each day, like whatever I was going through emotionally, I kind of just wrote through it. And I didn't even go into it planning to like write a poetry book. I just was writing every day, and then I realized I have enough pieces here for a book. Why not put it together? So it definitely helped me get through my pregnancy. It definitely let me like be vulnerable and not like afraid to actually share those feelings because so many women are going through it. So it definitely also helped me connect to my little unborn baby, and my husband came on board and actually did the illustrations in it too. So it really is like a family piece. And my beautiful daughter, Aurora, when she's older, she'll be able to read it and know just how much she was loved before she even got here.
Yeah, no, that's for this book. I feel this is so much important for men to read this book.
Yes.
I feel this is more important for men to read this book than for women, because they are living the experience, but we have no clue what is happening
Exactly.
with our own partner.
It's true, yeah. And I actually like that you mentioned that because a lot of people think like because it is about pregnancy that it's only for pregnant women or women period, but men actually do get a like whole new perspective on it, and they actually get to like place their selves in their partner's shoes. So, and it definitely opens up your eyes to everything that women go through and how strong and that we actually are. Hmm.
Yeah, and talking about the poem, I was going through different sections. I it's you have handled different issues so beautifully. For example, without really going into detail, you talked about abortion a little bit. How did you decide to handle these different issues in the poem? Did you think it was controversial when you were writing that?
I definitely thought it was, but I wanted to honor myself and honor things that real women have to think about when they do find out, especially like if it is an unplanned pregnancy. So there's definitely a lot of ways here in like Canada that like we can handle it. And I just wanted to kind of shed light and like let women know that even if you have that thought, it's okay. It's everybody's own body, and you are able to do with it what you think is best for you and your situation and where you are ultimately in your life. You know, like we all want to give the like best life to our child, and if that for like some people is their uh decision, then that's fine. Everybody's entitled to have their own, you know, opinions and do what they please with their own body.
Yeah, and you also, talk about, you put your husband Ryan,
Yes.
like you show his vulnerability when you talk about, when you write about, when you tell him the news. So how receptive he was, to letting him, part of the poem, show his vulnerability. And also, you talk about, you know not very explicitly, but still kind of in a sexual way about, the relationship between men and women. And it
Mm-hmm.
reminded me, Dolly Parton's song The Bridge, when you
Ah,
discussed that. And it was, so surreal. So how was his participation, and having him involved in the poem?
he was awesome. I feel like as soon as I had the idea to write it, he was 100% supportive. As soon as we found out I was pregnant, he was 100% percent supportive. And luckily, I was able to find an amazing guy to have next to me throughout the whole journey and to even help me create the book. It really is based on love. It really is for our daughter. And it's just a like beautiful family piece of art that I'm really proud of. And I'm lucky that I have him.
In 9 months you must have written, a lot more than what we see, finally, in the book. So how was, so this was your child as well, this writing this poem. So how was the decision making, when it's, cutting down to only a few lines in the end?
I feel like whatever I like felt in my soul, like whatever really connected me or what I felt like really expressed what I was going through, were the poems that I ended up choosing to be in the final book. Um, I feel like all of them really express who I am as a person, as well as what I was like emotionally actually going through. Like I wanted this to be real. I wanted mothers or pregnant women to understand exactly how I felt. So I like picked the poems that I thought best expressed emotionally like what we actually have to go through.
And
Mm-hmm.
and do you think, the experience of, the pregnancy and childbirth is a little bit different for, maybe women of color, or especially, black and indigenous women? So did that factor in while you were writing this?
At the moment, I'm not sure if I actually really did. I think I was just documenting myself
Mhm.
and my own experiences. But I think that definitely everybody does have their own perspective, like whether you are Black or Indigenous, that definitely could take a part in my own journey and what I was going through. Um, yeah, but I didn't like specifically write it with that in mind.
No, no, that's
Mhm.
nice. So also, a last question about specific, the poem is, I'm sure that, you have come to know that in the last few years there were, some instances in Barrie Public School where, in one of the instances, a black young girl was, verbally abused. And then when, the family reached out uh, to the Simcoe district school board, they did not get the response, they were hoping for. So, as bringing in another person of color in the world, there is always, like, I was, when my wife was pregnant, that was always back of my mind, that this is going to be a a brown child predominantly, white society. So did that factor in while you're writing this poem and going through the experience?
Honestly, no. I feel like when I write, I just something takes over and whatever's in my heart is just wanting to be released. So all of the what ifs or like doubts or like negative comments that people could have, I really just kind of blocked out and just focused on my own vision and tried to stay positive with it. I understand that yes, my daughter will be a Black girl being raised in Barrie, but so far I've received a lot of support from the arts community, so I'm not too worried. But I definitely want to teach her, coping methods, and I want to prepare her for what life can be like for a person of color. It definitely is not as easy as it seems. We definitely have our own struggles, and we have to be strong and keep fighting for our own rights to be accepted as equals. And that's something that I'm definitely going to teach her from a young age, so that when she does have to face, racism or anything, that she understands that it has nothing to do with who she is as a person, and that she's perfect just the way she is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm glad that I'm going to steal that line and going to tell my son that it's not because of who he is, but but the prevalent some beliefs in our society. So after this book, so what is next for you, especially as a poet laureate for the next 4 years? What are your plans?
Yeah, so I'm going to be doing a lot of poetic events. So January 14th will be my first show, and I will have rap and poetry. So this
Wow.
show is called Rap is Poetry, because rap is poetry. I'm also going to have dancers. I'm going to have visual artists taking place. So it's really kind of going to be like a poetic festival, where all of the arts come together to highlight poetry. It's going to be taking place right here in Barrie, January 14th at the 5 Points Theater. Tickets are available now. You guys can follow my event page, which is r.i.p_rap is poetry, or you can follow my personal page, Ty the Poetess, and that will lead you to the event page as well. This show is not just about me. Like, I'm not even really going to be performing poetry. I'm actually going to be hosting it and letting other artists, local artists, shine and give them a platform where they can actually showcase their own artistic abilities. Yeah, so it's gonna be really cool. Rap, poetry, dance, visual arts, everybody coming together to support local. So I'm really excited about it. It's also going to be a tour throughout Simcoe County. So our first stop will be Barrie. We'll make our way to Innisfil. We'll be in Collingwood. We'll be in Wasaga Beach. And it's just about highlighting local artists and businesses and everybody who supports the arts community.
I will have all these links when along with the video. I will post all of these links in the description. And in terms of your next, are you working on any are you writing poems? Any new book in order?
Yes. So I'm always writing something. But I definitely do want to publish a book during my poet laureate term. So that is in the works, maybe in a year or two. Bearing Fruit might have another book after it. I'm working on that currently. I'm also always writing new spoken word pieces. Another thing I want to do is host open mic nights at local restaurants and bars downtown, and invite people out to perform stuff that they have. So I'm actively working on that as well as but right now, obviously my show's in less than a month, so that's kind of where I'm at with planning. But there definitely will be more poetry readings for me, either at the Meridian Place in the summer or at local bars downtown that I'll definitely be inviting people out to. And I'm gonna keep working on book number 2.
This Jan 14th event is going to be platform for other poets rather than rather than you. So what kind of poets, we are going to see at this event?
So it's going to be really like diverse. We have people who are just starting out with poetry. We are going to have people who are really experienced. We're going to have four different poets. We're going to have four different rappers. We're going to have two different dancers, and we're going to have a visual artist. So it's really going to be showing like how diverse Barrie already is. It's mainly going to be local artists. Um, Everybody has like their own style, and I like kind of like handpicked everybody who I like thought already had something special, but I really wanted to show like everybody's like own unique style. So some some poets may be more like contemporary, whereas some might be more traditional, but it's definitely a variety, and everybody kind of gets to shine in their own way while we're all like supporting poetry and like coming to together as a arts community. Mhm. And like the rappers too are all really, really sick. Everybody in this show is amazing. Okay. They're all great. I honestly am so excited and I can't wait for everybody to see the show come to life.
Yeah. What is your expectations? I have, in terms of from the city, from the residents, in terms of having the more inclusive poet scene in Barrie.
I'm definitely looking for like sponsors and like small businesses or individuals to come on board to support, because like putting these events together does cost a lot. So I definitely am looking for sponsorship or like venues, people that are offering to let us come into their venue and put on this amazing show would be awesome. What I'm hoping is that people don't have to go all the way to like Toronto to like experience these like sort of things. People can come right here in Barrie. People can experience this like urban arts experience right here in Simcoe County instead of having to go to Toronto. Barrie is changing and it is becoming more like inclusive and diverse. And what I'm hoping is that more like people come on board with this idea and help me kind of get more shows going. Like this would be amazing to like have a lot more community members involved. I'm also hoping that artists get like more opportunities for paid shows or paid, gigs from this. Like this isn't about me, it's about everybody coming together. I really want to give a platform, and as the people's poet, I like feel like I owe it to everybody. So I'm just really grateful that I can actually give people a platform to like shine on.
Thank you so much, Ty, for joining me today, and good luck to you for the next 4 years. And I hope to see you on Jan 4th at Five Points
Yes.
Theater. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much. I'll definitely give you all the information to share, and we would love to have you there. So thank you. Thank you.